what he looked like? Did he look like he was going to pull something? Just tell me everything you remember.
Okay, when we pulled up, I was in the front seat, passenger side. He went down, got his shit, got the buzzing. So shit, I ducked. All I know is shit came from the back seat and they got the buzzing back. Shit, we hit the corner after the shooting. Another white car got to chasing us. They got the shooting too. Shit.
Well, you told me that already. So I just want to get it straight in my mind. Who's sitting in the back?
They're talking specifically about the night that Tupac was shot. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, this is a first one for me. The idea that somehow you could just report this, that he tells this whole story. He basically admits everything exactly as it happened, blow by blow. And then later on, when it's confronted with it, he says, I was just kidding, or I was just boasting at the very least. So there are two big problems with the defendant's claim here. One is that it sure sounds like he was telling it straight. He was not boasting about it, wasn't laughing about it at some bar or something like that. This is seems to be a blow-by-blow description of everything. I don't know why he did it, but nevertheless, I think he's got some problems here. The second thing is that if he were to say, I was just kidding as a defense on this whole thing, which again, I don't believe, just imagine how this would play out in courts from then on. Anytime anybody ever made an admission, other than, let's say, to a cop or otherwise, they made an admission in an email or a text or otherwise, they would just say, I was just kidding. I didn't really mean it in that way. In fact, I just didn't mean it at all. In fact, I meant the opposite. It's going to be very hard. This would be a very strange result if somehow the jury decided that he was just kidding and didn't happen the way that he described it. The detail here is really damning for him. And because of that, I think he's going to be in big trouble.
Was that Flamingo? Yeah, I think that's Flamingo. He was coming up Flamingo and got to the light. He was going to go drink, smoke some weed, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He was hanging out the window like he was in a parade.
Tupac.
Yeah, he was.
So what happens next?
And we just came, and shit. I ain't gonna go into the details like that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you got it in the book. You done played it, everything else, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Listen, this is all your story.
Yeah.
You verified it. You verified it on multiple different platforms. I interviewed you. It was the biggest platform that you were on. Hey, it is what it is. Hey, if you want to keep your, I'm not one of them type of people who blame Vlad for shit. I'm not a Vlad. It's called being a Vlad blamer. I'm not a Vlad blamer. Hey, listen, if you want to keep your criminal activity private and secret, how about this? Here's a novel idea. How about not fucking talking about it? How about keeping your mouth shut? How about if you know that there's no statute of limitations on the shit that you're finna say on the interview platform, how about not talking about it? And how about if somebody asks you something about it, how about not answering the fucking question?
What was Tupac and Suge's reaction when Orlando started shooting up the BMW?
Oh, shit. Suge just ducked his head. And the first bullet went in his head. Then the next one's hit him. It was like he was doing a breakdance trying to jump in the back seat or something. Yeah. Like, damn. Yeah, what the fuck? It looked like he was trying to jump in but it was, the bullets was in his ass.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically saying that, or at least by way of his attorney, Michael Samps, the defense attorney, is saying, look, you cannot believe my client. What he was just boasting just to up his notoriety, sort of his street cred, if you will. So when we're hearing these conversations, because last week we also heard a secretly recorded conversation between Davis and two former LAPD detectives in which the detectives said they were investigating the shooting death of Biggie Smalls, the notorious B.I.G. They said anything you say cannot be held against you.
When he said we didn't have anything to do with that one, did that trigger anything in your mind as to what he was saying?
When I recall, yes. We were like, that one, what do you mean? And then he said, we did the other one.
He said, we did the other one. And so, at that point, what did you think he was talking about?
Me personally, the only other one was Tupac. But we had nothing, we didn't think he was, we were talking about Christopher Wallace. We didn't ask him any questions about Tupac. He offered that on his own. We were surprised. Yes, I mean, I don't know if we shut that meeting down then to discuss what we were going to do. I don't remember, but we were surprised. Mr. Davis stated that his nephew, Mr. Orlando Anderson, was jumped and beat up in a club or in a hotel in Las Vegas after the Tyson fight. He came and told Mr. Davis what happened. They went looking for Tupac, Suge, anybody who was involved, basically, in the beatdown of Mr. Anderson. And they couldn't find him at first, and then they saw him, and basically, Mr. Davis had the gun at first, but they came up on the passenger side of Suge Knight and Mr. Shakur's vehicle, so he couldn't shoot across the driver. So he handed the gun to Dre in the back seat, Andre Smith. He was afraid to shoot. Mr. Anderson grabbed the gun and shot across Mr. Smith.
Tupac and them jumped on him. He was by himself. He didn't. My nephew never jumped on no fucking Tupac. Come on, man. Tupac was wrong with 2 left fucking shoes, nigga.
So he talked about his cousin Orlando Anderson, who was in the vehicle with him the night that Tupac was killed. He talked about the fact that it was Anderson who fired the shots himself, hence why he is on trial now. So not only his memoir, but also that secretly recorded conversation. Again, it seems pretty damning.
It is damning. I mean, just imagine the consequences that would flow. So many people in prison right now, prisoners who have committed murder, have robbed the bank, whatever that they may have done. If they were to hear that somehow they would be able to get off on this, they would say, "Look, I want a new trial because I was just kidding in all those admissions that I said before." So this would wreak havoc on the judicial system. We certainly don't want that.
What did Vlad do? Jump up, sock you in the fucking face, and make you tell the story again and again and again?
Well, no, he got paid for it. That first interview, that second interview were paid for. I freely admitted to that. That was the first time I ever paid for an interview, actually. Was
first
the Keefe D. Yeah, the first time I ever paid, for an interview in life was the Keefe D interview. And it's one of these situations, man, where...
So you paid him to confirm the criminal activity that he wrote in the book.
Yeah.
And on the book and the interviews has been admitted into evidence that's going to be presented at his trial for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
My reason for being hired onto Death Row Chronicles was a technical consultant, but mainly it was tied to Keefe's interview. I helped Mario Diaz write the questions, and then on both days of the interviews, they had me in an office there at E1's studios, or their office building. I'm down the hall from where the production studio was, where Keefe was being interviewed. And they gave me a headset so I could listen live to the interview as Mario was conducting it. And then I was texting follow-up questions to Mario while he was in the studio as things came up.
Were you recording your audio feed?
Yes, I took the headphones off and I made my own recording with my phone.
At some point, do you learn that the only thing that we could acquire from E1 Entertainment was an actual transcript of the tapes themselves, but not the tapes?
Correct. Yes.
And then, did you provide us the audio to your that you had done during these 2 interviews?
Yes. Once you subpoenaed me, I sent over my audio.
Oh, talk about it, man. I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, 10, playing Paul Water football.
Huh. That's interesting.
I was a running back on the team, and he was the center. Like the ball. His dad and his uncle was our coach. So after we win games, we would go over their houses, go swimming, have hot dogs, chips, and everything. And I was like the star running back. Went out and all the touchdowns.
So when did Puffy start talking about, Suge on a real serious level?
He was back there. We already established that.
Yeah.
You know, what'd you say?
I said, when did he start talking about Suge, like, on a real serious level? Puffy.
Oh, being scared of Suge?
Well, or doing something more than that.
I ain't really comfortable talking about that right now. When you see me in that suit, drop me. Right?
When we first talked and they wanted to do the interview and they, sent us the book, we went through the book and I'm like, are you willing to talk about what's in the book?
You did ask him. You asked him.
And he's like, yeah, we're willing to talk about it. I said, okay.
The term scripted came up as well. Was your show scripted at all?
No, and I I pride myself in making sure that my work meets the strictest journalistic standards. I did not coach him in any way. We had meetings where I generally, very brief meetings when he was in the office, where I generally told him sort of where I was going with my questioning, but there was no coaching, no coercion, nothing of the sort. It was nothing was predetermined. I never provided questions ahead of time either.
Spoke to Keefe D's lawyer, and he wants me to come and testify. And I told him that I was not going to testify. I'll be telling the prosecutor the same thing that I'm telling him. I ain't coming in there on behalf of Keefe D, and I ain't coming there on the behalf of the prosecution to testify against nobody. I'm not doing it. You can't get me to go in there and testify. And if I had to sit down, you know what I'm saying, because they want to deem me a hostile witness or they want to deem me uncooperative, you know what I'm saying, and hold me in contempt, they could do that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not going in there testifying for nobody, against or for nobody. And I know I've said some things, regarding Keefe D and Puff on the internet, but that ain't got nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going in there, to testify. For what? They already got information. They already know that. What I'm going to testify to. And for what? To establish what?
I don't want to send you to prison.
The next question I'm asking you is, when you went back to Compton, was it like a Southside Crib, Piru Blood, and then a Piru Blood, Southside Crib? Is that the tension that we're talking about?
Do I answer this?
That's a straightforward question. It's a yes or no answer.
Okay.
Did you see that?
When I was a part of that life, I was a part of that. And I was, no, because you asking something that's going to hurt this dude. And okay, let me stop.
And once again, I want to emphasize.
When we got back to Compton,
okay,
it was war. People were getting hurt.
Okay.
People was being sought. People were looking for certain individuals from his neighborhood,
okay,
as well they did mine.
Okay.
But Orlando, him, and certain other people were being sought because people wanted to kill them.
Sure. Were they the only ones that they wanted to?
I'm not the only one up in here. No, they weren't the only one. Okay. It's his neighborhood in particular. Right. But they were the main subjects of a court. It was in the middle, such as me.
So you're telling us that people back home somehow had some type of information that said that guy, as a bunch of other people, were involved in what?
In the murder of Tupac.
Okay, but my question to you,
Stop.
Can you focus on me for a second, sir?
Yeah, I will.
And I apologize. No, answer my question.
I'm not answering nothing. I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay. Okay, Mr. McDonald, focus for a second.
I am focused. Very.
Focus on this. My question to you is this. You didn't know what happened that night because you weren't there.
I was at 662.
Right. Do you know who that was there?
I know everybody that was there.
Okay. Like who?
Talk to your lawyer, man. This dude is tripping. Ask me something I'm going to be honest about. You ask me something I don't want to talk about, you're going to have a problem. Treat me as a hostile witness. You're not going to talk to me and tell me as a grown man what I have to do up here. I'm not finna send him to prison. You asking me questions. If I just like answer your questions, we going to have a problem in here, a misunderstanding. And you're asking me something that wouldn't be good for him.
See, listen, when it comes to matters of crime and punishment, you have to factor in how old you are, and you have to factor in the evidence they have against you. A lot of people, if I was him, I would have took that 10 years.
Or 10 or 25.
I would have took that motherfucking 10 or 25. When you look at the insurmountable evidence, your own words are going to be the key testimony against you are going to be the things that you described happening in that book.
Did you come to Las Vegas on the weekend of September 7th, 1996?
Yes.
Who'd you come with?
My best friend and some girlfriends.
Can you tell me who they were?
Shalane, Tanisha, and Lauren.
And why'd you come to Las Vegas that weekend?
Well, when you live in LA, you go to Vegas all the time. It's just a party city. So we decided to go for the weekend. We were all off work. And so we went to come hang out, have fun.
And were you aware, and well, first let me take a step back. So you guys were living in LA at the time?
Yes.
What part of LA?
I may have been living at my dad's, which is Carson.
Okay. And then and you came out for the purposes to party. Were you aware that there was a Mike Tyson fight that weekend?
Yes, that's one of the reasons. There was always a Mike Tyson fight. But we were coming because my friend knew one of the managers or coaches, I forget what they're called, and we had planned on going to the fight.
Did you end up going to the fight?
No.
What happened?
Women in the bathroom, 4 women in the bathroom did not work. We took too long. We missed the fight completely.
And so, where were you staying that night?
I believe we were at the Lexor, or the Rio, but I think it was the Lexor.
Okay. And then, did you ever actually make it to the MGM where the fight was?
We made it to the let out, is what I call it, because the fight was already over, so everyone was kind of hanging out. So we went to see what was going on for the night.
And did you hang out there for a while?
I don't remember, but it would have been enough time to run into a few friends and say hello and hang out, and maybe drink or two, maybe.
So, what did you do after hanging out at the MGM Grand?
Well, we had met one of my friends, and they had mentioned there was somewhere they were going to go. So we decided, okay, we'll go there first and see what's happening before we decide, where we're going to end the night. So we all got back in our car, the rented car we took from LA, and drove.
And do you recall what kind of car that was?
It was a convertible Supreme.
Got to know is my daughter's fiance who was going to get married. In fact, he died in her arms, with his lungs stapled up. She almost got killed on that, too, because Suge and Tupac were in the car. She was supposed to be sitting next to Tupac.
This was in Las Vegas, right?
Las Vegas, yeah. And thank God Tupac called her up and said, I just hit a crip, so I'll pick you up later. And a car came by, his car, a convertible, with girls in it to tempt him out of the car.
And did all four of you go into the car?
Yes, all four of us were in the car.
And what happened once you guys started driving?
That's a loaded question. A lot happened. We got in the car. I believe we left the MGM parking lot, and then we went to the main street, Las Vegas Boulevard, I guess. And we were driving, and I believe we were, about 10 minutes after leaving the parking lot, and then we ran into Suge and Tupac in the car.
And when you say you ran into them, what'd that look like?
Well, we were driving, hanging out in a convertible, and my girlfriend Lauren at the time, she knew Suge, and she told us, "Hey, there's Suge. Pull up next to him. I'm gonna ask them what they're doing." And so Shalane was the driver, and she slowed up close to them.
And so you said Shalane was the driver.
Yes.
Where were you seated?
I was a passenger in front.
In the front passenger? Yes. So Shalane's driving, You're in the front passenger, and the other two women are in the back seat?
Yeah, Tanisha's behind me, and then Lauren is behind the driver.
After all these years, you still remember that, huh?
Oh, yeah. Some things you don't forget. That one.
And so then when you start driving, when you see Suge and your friend starts talking to Suge, what happens?
They were talking, and she was like, what's going on? What's happening? We look over initially, we pull up to the car, and we kind of nod or say hello, that kind of thing. But we were in our own little world. While she was talking to him, he said, hey, we're all going to the club. Why don't you follow us? Get behind us. You can go with us. And so that was decided we'll go there first and see what's happening before we go anywhere else.
So do you follow, do you remember who's driving and who's in the passenger side?
Suge was driving and Tupac was in the passenger seat.
All right. I believe States Exhibit 3 has already been admitted. We're going to publish that. Is this kind of the way they look at night?
Yeah, that was just like this.
And so, you decided to follow Suge and Tupac to the club?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
That's okay. And so, do you recall the name of that club?
It was an area code, so I remember it was 662 or 702, but now I know it's 662.
And then what did you do? Did you guys start driving over to Club
62? We got behind them and we start driving down the Las Vegas Strip. And it was weird because there was a car behind us and they kept going around us trying to get in front of us. It happened quite often. It was really annoying. We didn't understand what was going on. And then at one point we were getting ready to turn to go on the main street. I guess Flamingo was on. Or Flamingo, I think is what it's called. When we turned that way, I was like, what the heck is going on? People keep getting in front of us. I know how to get to the club. Let's figure out our own way. I can drive and we can meet them up there. And so our plan was to get out from behind them.
So you were confused about the way the cars were moving?
Yeah, I didn't understand. In hindsight, I know now, but I didn't understand there was entourage. I just thought, they were going to a club. We didn't think about it.
And then at some point on Flamingo, do you stop at a light?
Yes.
And they pulled off, and a guy with a bow tie and a machine gun took him out. That would have been my daughter, Her car was behind him with the security.
On Flamingo, do you stop at a light?
Yeah, so when we get close to the light, I tell Shalane, pull over, I'll drive. I know where I'm going. I've been there before. So we pull from around them, and then we stop at the light, and
before... that's my fault, not yours. So before... when you guys are stopped at the light, where is your car relative to Suge Knight's and Tupac Shakur's car?
So I believe there was 4 lanes, a turning lane, the lane next to it, the middle, and then there was one for like the outside lane. So they were on the 3rd lane, I believe, and when we got off the lane behind them, we got out and we went past, and I think we were a car or 2 on the 2nd lane from the light.
And so, were you behind or in front of Suge Knight's car?
We were in front.
So you're in the lane next over, a car, or maybe 2 in front.
Yeah, exactly.
Then, while you're waiting at that light, does anything happen?
Well, me and Shalane were going to change seats. I was going to drive. I'm the more aggressive driver, and after what, she was nervous with them coming back in front of us so much. So me and Shalane were literally head down, taking our seatbelts off when we heard the gunshots.
There was a rumor that Tupac had knocked you out one time.
I'd have killed him.
That would have been your response if that happened.
Yeah, I'm being honest with you and everybody else. I said it on my podcast show. Him, Suge, and my brother. I'd have shot all 3 of them if he touched me. That's how I was living.
2006, is it fair to say that you started doing work for the DEA?
Yeah, Haida.
Yeah, Haida, yeah. And is that after you got caught trafficking some drugs as well?
Correct.
We made up the rule. If you want to be my informant, I got dope on you or I got a gun on you, you're going to work for me, I'm going to put it on.
And in the mid-2000s, you got 5 payments, is that right?
I think something like that.
And that was for $2,000, $500, $1,000, $1,300, and $500 for a total of $5,300. Is that fair?
That's probably fair to say. I don't know exactly.
You don't remember it, but if I told you that, you wouldn't disagree with me.
No, not at all.
Your street moniker is Durlock.
Correct.
Okay. And how did you come with that moniker? How did that happen?
It was given to me.
And with regards to your testimony here today, you've told us a little bit about your work with HIDA. That's for drugs, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And while you're...
Drugs and other things. HIDA is a task force, so it's drugs and everything. It's ATF, DEA, all that.
Right.
Right.
And with regards to your work with HIDA, of course, because it's about everything, technically, if you saw other types of crimes being committed while you're working for HIDA, you would tell the HIDA people because it's part of the overall task force, right?
No, I'm not necessarily. I'm tell them what they asked me about. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell them nothing outside of the realm of what they're seeking or looking for.
Right. And fair to say, though, with regards to what they were seeking and looking for, at some point they were targeting Mr. Davis as a drug dealer, right?
Yeah.
And so you were helping them with that information that they needed, right? And that information came in early of 2008, meaning that you were helping them in April and May and that kind of thing.
I'm not sure the dates, but Victory was, helping them. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember the dates.
Your Honor, would a review of a report from the DOJ with regard to your participation help refresh your recollection?
It might, yeah.
And with regard to this document I gave you, it looks like the date that I've shown you is the date for July 10th, 2008. Is that right?
Yes, that's the date that's on there.
Okay. And fair to say for the jury, once again, you're working with the HIDA team, and that's even prior to July of 2008, you were working with the HIDA team. Fair?
You said prior to
July of 2008.
2008?
Yes.
I was working with HIDA. I only worked with HIDA one time, so I don't know what you're trying to insinuate.
Would a review of another document help you refresh your recollection as to how many times you worked with HIDA?
It might. Let me see.
You recall having an interview with a couple of the special agents from HIDA on September 10th, 2007?
Yes, I recall.
All right. And then also, once again, just for the jury's edification, I'm showing you a document here. Were you also working with HIDA on April 3rd, 2008?
See, working and being interviewed is two different things.
Okay, so you're being interviewed by HIDA on April 3rd, 2008.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Why would you snitch on your brother to lighten your sentence for what you did? Why would you let them use you like that? It is because you have no love for yourself, no love for your people.
Reggie provided a lot of information. He was in a very high-level position of death row records. He was very aware of what we were doing in terms of investigations, numerous investigations on death row records and Suge Knight. We executed search warrants. He helped provide information. Reggie had a game plan, and he made it very, very clear that he wanted to take over death row records. Make no mistake about that.
At some point, you become the general manager of death row records.
That's in 1997, sir.
1997.
Yes, that's correct, sir.
So Suge Knight is in Las Vegas, and you were with them every single day, and in September of 1996, he just happened to get in this fray, and next thing you know, he's going to prison, right?
I'm sorry?
Let me ask you this. Why did Suge go to prison?
He violated his probation.
Right. So you knew, of course, that he was on probation, right? Before
The whole time I was with him.
You did?
From 1994, yes.
Yeah. And so you knew that the number one person from Death Row Records, the primary principal for you, potentially could go to prison if he got into a fight, for instance, right?
Correct.
And on this particular night, you weren't around for him when he was in this quote-unquote fight, right?
I was around with Mr. Knight about 70 to 80% of his life. So I guess a lot of 20%, I wasn't with him.
Okay.
Public, and when I say that, I mean public. Because a lot of times he laid up, sleep with somebody, and I wasn't with him.
So in the most important time of Suge Knight's life of having your protection, you weren't there for him?
Unfortunately not, that's correct.
And then you became the general manager of Death Row Records.
By his calling, not anyone else.
All right, no further questions.
All right, State, any further questions?
Just want to clarify that last point. In terms of who determined who was going to run Death Row Records while Mr. Knight was in prison?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Who determined, who made you in charge of Death Row Records while Mr. Knight was in prison?
He did, and I visited him 4 days a week during that time while he was incarcerated.
Nothing further.
Anything further on that, Mr. Stamps?
Just one clarification. So
Okay.
Suge Knight made you general manager when he was in custody?
That's correct.
I think something wrong with it. I think it's a mental health problem. Because for someone to be lying all these years and say they ran my company, Death Row, or work at Death Row, when he knows, I know, his paycheck says security. This guy got everything mixed up, turned backwards.
This call and/or telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Everybody looking like a clown. Not me, of course. But the crazy thing about it, I had a conversation with his father. I tried to show them some respect because I know they're going through it, all of them. I told him, next time, your fat ass, pork butt ass son lie on my mother, it's going to be a situation. Now, if I was the type of motherfucker to sue people, I want to see people in prison, all those quick cops be in prison. I had the biggest lawsuit against the cops and sheriff more than anybody. Not all of them, but most of them. From his father, him, and all to the old mayor and everything else. And I'm not talking about Omar, I'm talking about fake guys. For them to take a fake stamp and steal checks is illegal. For them to steal money is illegal. For them to use my luxury box at the Staples Center to watch Kobe and Shaq run up and down the court and drink my good wine and champagne is illegal. For the police to be on my yacht is illegal without my permission for years, the whole time I was in prison. Being in my houses. They never been to my houses before this. When I'm in prison, guys in my property, you the police, sheriffs. Every time they talk about something, even though it's police business, and Red Senior talking, he bring up me. Me and his son didn't hang out in elementary school. I don't think I might have seen him once or twice. He wasn't one of the kids that hung with us. That's not me. We went in junior high school together. We went in high school together. He went to Bourbon Gay, all boys school. How is it they know so much about me when they know absolutely nothing about me? Now, we got a lot in common. My mother and father had 2 girls and 1 boy. Me. His mother and father had 2 boys and 1 girl. Him. But his father had 10, 15 more kids out there in Compton. And my mother always said that. Don't trust him.
It's beyond comprehension. And I know people say, oh, Phil Carson's crazy. This is the biggest conspiracy theory. There's no way you can get the somebody at the LA Times and somebody at LAPD and then somebody at the DA's office and the city attorney's office to all come together to help cover this up. No, it is true. And we know who those people are. We have audio recordings. We have the documentation. We have sworn statements for people that admitted they helped try to cover this thing up. And that's why I say the cover-up is worse than the crime, because of the people that were involved.
Yeah, I was stopped at a light, and a car rolled up, or really the wheels really caught my attention, and then I looked up and I saw it was Tupac and Suge sitting in the car.
What, did you try to interact with Mr. Shakur or Mr. Knight?
With Tupac, I did.
And what happened? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I said, hey, what up, Pop? And then he kind of looked and kind of took like a double take. He said, oh, what up, man? And then I said, hey, where you guys headed? He said, we're headed to the club. You should follow us. I said, all right, cool. And then, I don't know, I said, man, let me get a picture real quick. And I had my camera in my center console, so I just grabbed my camera and snapped the picture.
So this was before iPhone, so you actually had a physical camera with you?
Yeah, I had a 35mm camera.
I'm going to show you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit Number 3. Do you recognize what's being shown to you?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
That's the picture that I took.
Now, after taking this picture, so you took this picture at a red light.
Yes, sir.
And I'm assuming the light turns green at some point.
Yes, it does.
What do you do?
After I took the picture, the light changed green, and they took off, and I recognized like 1 or 2 of the cars that were behind them from seeing them from LA. So I let them go by, and then they got in front of me, and then I got 3 cars behind them, behind the BMW, and then we're just driving down Las Vegas Boulevard.
At some point, do you make a right turn?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So we, I don't guess the street is. I remember this Flamingo. We get to Flamingo, and as we're making the right turn, I get on the phone. I was calling California Pizza Kitchen to cancel my food order.
Because you're heading to the club, right? You don't need a CPK anymore.
Yeah, I don't need CPK. So while I was on the phone with him, like 30 seconds or so, and then all of a sudden I just hear pop, 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 and I kind of like, like looking around, and then I see the cars were stopped, and I see the people in front that were in the cars. They got out of the car and ran to the front. They ran to the BMW.
So you hear gunshots.
Yes.
But you don't. Do you see where the gunshots are coming from?
I did not know.
And do you see who's doing the shooting?
I did not know.
One of the connections that Dwayne Davis gets through his association with Zip Martin is with Sean Puffy Combs, who was then the CEO of Bad Boy Entertainment. Sean Combs wanted some security when he came out to the West Coast. He was worried about Mob Piru. He was worried about the members of Death Row Records. And so Dwayne Keefe D. Davis agreed to be around to act as unofficial security for Sean Combs and his artists when they came out west, to ensure there are no problems with Mob Piru and Death Row Records. And this took a rivalry between Mob Piru and Southside Compton Crips and escalated it. And those tensions boiled over in the Lakewood Mall in the summer of 1996. There, you'll hear that Trayvon Lane, a member of the Mob Piru, associated with Death Row Records, was there with other members of Mob Piru in order to do some shopping. Lakewood Mall was a mall nearby Compton. You'll also hear that baby Lane Anderson, Orlando Anderson, the defendant's nephew, was there. Now, Trayvon Lane that day was wearing a chain with a Death Row medallion. And there was a fight that occurs between the Mob Piru group and the Southside Compton Crips. And at one point, that chain is pulled off Trayvon Lane's neck. Now, what happened to that chain is an issue of much dispute. Not everybody agrees with it. But the act of disrespect of pulling the Death Row chain and the brawl that occurs further escalates this heated rivalry. And what you'll learn is that these two men, Trayvon Lane and Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, they encounter each other again. This time in Las Vegas.
He repeatedly denies to you knowing who killed Tupac Shakur.
Yeah, he said they didn't have any knowledge of what happened, that they weren't involved. He did later speculate that maybe it was some Compton police officers that were working for Suge Knight, and that maybe it was because he had heard that Tupac was talking about possibly leaving Death Row Records or something to that effect. But
his suggestion was that perhaps Knight, who's driving the car, had Compton police officers shoot Tupac in the car Suge's driving.
yes, something to that effect. Yeah, he said that back in 93, 94, Zip introduced Davis to Notorious B.I.G. at Summer Jam concert, and Davis would associate with Notorious B.I.G. when he was in L.A. area, but they never had any drug connections or anything like that.
He tells you that he was actually at the Peterson Automotive Museum the night Mr. Wallace was killed.
That's correct, yes.
And that he saw some, at least people associated with Death Row Records at that location.
Yeah, he told us that prior to that, the night of the murder, Davis observed some females associated with Death Row Records at the party. He said, like Jewel, a singer, LaShelle, a comedian for Death Row, and Davis believes that they saw Mr. Wallace at the event, then called Blood gang members to come. Davis did say he observed Reggie Wright Jr., DJ Quick, who was a performer for Death Row, Theo, a local disc jockey, and about 10 or 11 other Treetop, Fruitown Blood gang members arrived at the event. Davis told Mr. Wallace that they were to watch, that they were there and they should watch out. And then shortly thereafter, Mr. Wallace was shot. But Davis wasn't there. He didn't see who actually shot him.
But once again, he tells you that he believes that Reggie Wright Jr. and Blood gang members are the people that killed Mr. Wallace.
Yes, he said he believed that Reggie Wright Jr. and the Blood gang members associated with him were the ones responsible for killing Notorious B.I.G. When asked who the individual was who actually killed him, based off of there was a composite drawing that was that had been provided and was kind of passed around, so we showed him that. Davis responded that the composite looked just like Reggie Wright Jr.
What's your responsibility as it relates to Mr. Shakur as the EMT is working on?
I was trying to talk to him to find out what had happened. Excuse me. Gather information to see who had fired at them.
Did you wind up riding anywhere with Mr. Shakur?
Yes, I rode to the hospital in the ambulance with him.
During that time period, between the time you get to Mr. Shakur and the time period he gets taken into the hospital, are you able to have any sort of communication with Mr. Shakur?
He was still talking, and I was trying to convince him to tell me the name of whoever his assailants were.
And did he ever respond?
Yes, he responded, no, we'll take care of it. So, something like that.
No, we'll take
care of it, something like that.
And that's the only thing you were able to gather from Mr. Shakur?
Yeah, I couldn't get him to talk to me any further than that.
Let's go over what happened on Friday. Jurors went home after somewhat of an outburst from defendant Davis, Keefe D. Now, Davis blames police and prosecutors for putting his family in danger. He's saying people vandalized his home and broke into his wife's car. Davis also says Metro released his home address.
They keep giving out my address. They broke in my house, vandalized my house, vandalized my wife's car. You know what I'm saying? Because they keep giving out our address. Now they gave out my sister's address. This stuff is wrong.
I've heard it's going on both ways, that there's concerns both ways.
They're wrong.
I didn't know the girls in the drop top were thought to be set up until I seen that Quincy Jones clip. I ain't gonna lie, how she tells the story is a little questionable. They at the light and conveniently have their heads down when shots were going off because they were taking off their seatbelts. But I ain't gonna lie, Quincy's story does sound a little wild, but his daughter was there, and personally, that makes me wonder what she told her dad. And that Dirt Rock dude is all bad. Sounds like he was telling on Keefe D about drugs, which they ultimately used as leverage to put pressure on Keefe D. So he might be a key figure in the downfall of Keefe D. But to be honest, I have to agree with Shug King. Keefe D did it to himself. After hearing audio after audio of this dude repeatedly telling the same or similar stories, makes me wonder if he wasn't coached. Either way, they got him good. I thought that Proffer Audio was the only one, but he has multiple interviews. Seems like he was a career informant. It's a lot of informants connected to the case. Why Keefe D is going to have a hard time winning in court. The mountain of self-incriminating evidence. Keefe D's biggest enemy has always been himself. He spent years openly talking to police, sitting for police interviews, including the infamous 2008 and 2009 Proffer interviews, cooperating behind the scenes, and then broadcasting his involvement to the world in documentaries, podcasts, and his own memoir, Compton Street Legend. Prosecutors don't need to dig deep for circumstantial clues when the defendant literally wrote the blueprint of the crime and put his own name on it. The entertainment purpose defense won't easily fly. His legal team's strategy claiming that everything he said in books and interviews was just fabricated internet and street folklore meant to chase money and clout is a very hard sell to a jury. Juries tend to believe someone when they confess to a murder multiple times across different decades, especially when the details match up with the physical evidence. The informant and Proffer paper trail. even though his defense fought hard to suppress those old law enforcement statements under the argument that he thought he had immunity. The reality is that those recordings establish a consistent narrative that prosecutors can weave tightly around him. Once those statements get locked in as part of the evidentiary record, it gives the state a massive roadmap. The possibility of him beating the case. Near zero for a full acquittal, beating a first-degree murder charge with gang enhancements after practically confessing on record for years is nearly impossible, unless his defense can successfully get his entire historical timeline of admissions completely thrown out as legally inadmissible or prove systemic police and prosecutorial misconduct regarding past immunity deals he lacks a clean exit strategy. The real battleground, his legal team's only real leverage has been trying to poke holes in the physical timeline, questioning medical, forensic details, or trying to diminish the reliability of legacy informant testimony. But realistically, those are damage control tactics to avoid a maximum sentence rather than a path to walking free. As Knight and everyone else looking at the situation points out, he backed himself into a corner by talking too much for too long.